Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and I'm free again. I'm free again because just moments ago the plow went by. See, not many people know that we operate out of my 140-year-old farmhouse on a dirt road in Michigan somewhere. We don't even know quite where. And that's very charming, and it certainly does have its appeal, especially on busy days when everyone's here and it feels more like an office. But that also means that occasionally we get snowed in. See, because if we get a foot of snow, like we kind of did, maybe 8 inches, 10 inches, it can turn into 3 or 4 foot snow drifts, which I drove through a couple of yesterday, but then it can also turn into long expanses of 2-foot high snow that even my excursion that feels like it stands 6 feet off the ground can't get through. So we're very excited. I'm very excited to be free. But what this means is that unlike a normal virtual user group day, Mary Jo and Leanne are not here. I feel kind of lonely. Leanne, are you there? Mary Jo, are you there?
We're here, Paul.
Okay, phew. I just can't see them. So Mary Jo's down in Swanton, Ohio. How's the weather, Mary Jo?
It's pretty good.
Good. Is it snowy down there too?
Yeah, it's drifting too.
Good. I wouldn't want to have all this fun all to myself. And Leanne actually lives just a few miles away from me, so she's feeling the pain. We actually had our office party on Saturday, and my family thought I was nuts for going ahead with it. Perhaps my employees did too. They just didn't tell me. But we had it at the office in Petersburg, Michigan, and I think we were, or the library in Petersburg, Michigan. I think we were the only people in Petersburg, Michigan that night. This was Saturday, the night that the snow hit. But anyways, enough about me and my snow and our office parties. You are looking on your screen right now at the GoToWebinar control panel. And if you are familiar with our sessions, then you know that this button here that looks like arrows pointing to the right is actually what you press to click or to move and slide this big thing out of the way. Once you click that button with the arrows pointing to the right, this will move away, and this will turn into a button with arrows pointing to the left. This will be the only thing exposed at that point. Clicking that button again while the arrows are pointing to the left will cause this to come back into focus. You would want this to come back out. Well, first you want to get it out of the way because it may be covering up my screen, and of course you want to see everything that's going on. Now we're going to do a lot of talking today. We may not even show anything, but if we do, you want to be able to see it. Now, you might want to bring it back into focus because you might be shy, but you might have a question. And therefore, you would want to type it right here. You just bring this into focus, you type your question, you don't forget to hit the send button. And Leanne, our humble moderator, will interrupt me or Mary Jo at the opportune time, and we'll ask your question on your behalf. If you have follow-up questions, keep typing them right here. Keep remembering to hit the send button, and Leanne will keep remembering to ask your follow-up questions. Don't stop asking them until they've been answered. If you're not feeling shy, you can press this button, which looks like a hand with an arrow pointing upwards in front of it, and that will tell us that you are raising your hand and you would like to speak, and we will unmute you. Leanne will. She'll interrupt us again at the opportune time, but this time she'll unmute you and you can ask your question all by yourself. We won't involve Leanne at all. Now, I understand that somebody has had their hand up since the very beginning. Leanne, are you there? Does that person still have their hand up? Well, let them talk and see if they have something to say. Who is it?
Cynthia, I have unmuted you, and you can ask your question.
Cynthia, are you there?
Hello, Cynthia.
Leanne, are you making this up? Are you making this up?
No, I can. I can hear her, I think.
Are you just...
Oh, she raised... Cynthia, you can ask your question now.
Maybe Cynthia's asking a question about how to get her microphone to work on her computer.
Well, that could be.
We're gonna ask Cynthia to type her question, and Leanne will kind of operate in the background and see what's going on. But we're going to talk about what's happened in the world of STI over the last year. And by that I mean what's gone on. Now, of course, we know that version 17 is imminently in the future of everyone who is on maintenance, because we've been talking about it for a while. We had our last month's virtual user group meeting. We talked on those things. Last week on Friday, we had another session, a webinar on those features. So we'll talk about that in a second. I want to just let you know that we're basically going to touch on all the things that have changed in the year as far as STI goes, and also as far as we go, because we are basically your conduit to STI. So one of the things that STI did was they extended their Net 30 offer on upgrading to Platinum. Now, those of you who have dealt with STI for a long time know that you pretty much pay for what you're getting the minute you get it, or should I say before you get it. That's the way STI, and that's the way we operate. Probably because that's the way STI operates. They want us to pay for your upgrades and your new software as soon as we order them. But because a lot of people want to try Platinum, which is the faster version of Tabs3 and Practice Master that has certain functionality that's not in the regular multi-user version, they came out with this plan several years ago to let people try it for Net 30 terms. In other words, you can say, I'd like to try it. They'll send you a bill. They'll send you the software. We'll get it installed. You'll see how great it is, how fast and it is, and the other features, backup while people are in the software, the e-notify feature within Practice Master, the extended reporting capability, all sorts of things that are in Platinum you can try for yourself, and then when you've convinced yourself that you like it, you simply pay the bill. And they remain unlocked, if you will. That remains installed. If you decide you don't want it, we simply take it back to where you were as far as a regular multi-user version. You tear the bill up and go on. So they decided somewhere in 2013 we're going to extend that, and that's been extended, so far as I know. Well, and they haven't told us they're done extending it. So that's one thing that happened in 2013 in the STI world, and we're very happy with that. We have a lot of people that have done that, and I don't believe we've ever had anybody that's torn the bill up. I think everybody decides that Platinum is a good, if they're looking at it and they want to try it, they're at a point where they usually is going to be of great utility to them, and nobody's ever said we don't want it after they've gotten it in there. Another thing, of course, that is happening or has started to happen in 2013 is that version 17 went into beta testing, went into kind of a pre-beta or an alpha testing. Oh gosh, Mary Jo, has it been 4 months now? We got our copy about 4 months ago. Shortly after that, some of our clients became beta testers, meaning that they started using version 17. I can tell you that it has been locked down. There is no more beta program available. Now, I cannot tell you why that is because I don't know, but I can tell you that I assume that that means that the release to new customers is imminent. Now, when that's going to happen, I don't know. I'm anticipating that it might happen this week, it might happen next week. I'm guessing it's going to happen before the end of the year, but do I know? I really don't know. Version 17 is gone into beta. It has exited beta. You can't get on beta anymore. You can't tell them we'd like to beta test, even though beta is pretty much over. There were people as early as or as late as last week saying we want to be on beta, even though the beta period is the beta itself is pretty much over. They've tested everything they need. You can't do that anymore. That probably means that they're going to let it fly, and that we are going to see it coming out soon. Now, when will they let you folks know that already have the software? Probably just after the beginning of the year, if they do in fact release it to new customers before the end of the year. I think that's what's going to happen, but I don't know that for sure. Once they do release it to new customers, I'm pretty sure that if you absolutely want it, we can probably pull a few strings and get it for you. It'll be very quick after that they let everybody else know. And this is going to be a download, so they'll send you an email and you'll be able to download it, and that'll be that. It's very simple to install. It does do a conversion. The conversion can vary in time, but it could take anywhere up to an hour to do, but we haven't found that to really be the case. It goes on very quickly, converts very quickly, and you're done. There is a document, of course, that comes with it with some steps that you need to perform before. So that's something exciting that's happened. We've We think we're going to see version 17 in 2013. We can't guarantee that. We don't really know for sure. But we did see it go into beta. We saw it go into alpha, which is where we got to start playing with it. We've seen many of our customers go through the beta program, and we now have seen it locked down. So we think that's where we are. Mary Jo's going to talk about Office 2013. Mary Jo?
Before I do that, I'm just going to throw in, since we're talking about 17, just that the beta support, if you are on beta, that is gone. You don't have a special line anymore that you can call for beta support, but that doesn't mean you can't get help. You can still call the regular support. It's just been thrown out into that now. So there's no longer a special queue that you would ask for when you call in. You just call support, and you can have anybody answer the question now. So we'll just get that out of the way, too, since that's all beta-related.
Beta support is one of those special perks that you get when you're on beta, because you're talking to people, am I right, Mary Jo, that aren't normally in support. I guess this is the quality assurance team.
Yeah, I think they're part of the, people that, I don't know if they help develop or maintaining or whatever, but they're there to answer questions specifically about the beta, so that if there are, things that they have to change or things like that, that they can get that right to the people that need to do it.
Right.
So now that's gone. So that, again, that's another sign that this is going to be released very quickly. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that that is going to be released soon. So, so that's my kick in there for beta. Microsoft Office 2013, we've had some questions, will our software support that? And yes, it will. They have done some testing and everything looks good. So if you have upgraded to Microsoft Office, Outlook, Word, Excel, any of those programs, they are fully functional with any of the STI products. So that's a reason you were worried about it.
That if you had them when they first came out and had trouble, that's one of the things that they did in 2013 is they fixed any small issues that they discovered once people started running it. So if you did have it, or you had it and you had trouble with it, integrating with Practice Master, most notably, those issues have been resolved. So you want to make sure that you get the latest version of Tabs or Practice Master, and that if you're having trouble with 2013, those should be resolved with that latest issue. I guess I'm talking about discontinued features. What is gone, Mary Jo? Let's see. There's Practice Master has a thing called the briefcase. It is going away with version 17, so we're pretty sure that's something that will go away in 2013. There are a handful of people, and oddly enough, we happen to have two of them as clients, that still use the Practice Master briefcase. Just a little bit of history of the briefcase is something that, sorry, that's my headset is, I've now discovered that's what's making all that noise, and now I know what to press. The briefcase is something that's kind of a throwback to a decade or so ago when people didn't really have the internet. They couldn't access their office computer. Some people, it goes way, way back. So some people were using the briefcase before they even had their computers hooked together within their office. But it's a way to take a matter from Practice Master and everything about it and put it on a separate computer, work on it on that separate computer, and then bring it back in. Now, one of our clients that uses the briefcase still is in Puerto Rico, where the internet connections are a little bit less reliable, a little bit less fast, a little bit slower, I guess is a better way to say that. And so he uses the briefcase, and so he is being very careful not to upgrade to version 17. I have one other client that uses it, and we've specifically got him all the way up to 16.2 so that he could continue to use the briefcase with the latest version of the software that he could. But if you like the briefcase, it's going away. Some of the cost capture device software packages that integrate with Tabs are being phased out simply because TV device is the catch-all, does-everything sort of program to interface your copier or your phone system or anything that's collecting data and bringing those cost entries into Tabs. Am I forgetting anything that's being discontinued, Mary Jo?
QuickBooks integration for Practice Master
that's right, for
only.
Practice Master. Thank you. Why you would ever integrate QuickBooks just with Practice Master instead of integrating QuickBooks with Tabs, we haven't been able to figure that out. So if anybody knows why you do that, please let me know. We're kind of curious. But that functionality is going away. The ability to integrate QuickBooks with Practice Master, not with Tabs. QuickBooks Tabs integration is still there, it's still the same as it always has been, but the QuickBooks to Practice Master integration is going away. And then probably the most important thing that's going away is, well, it's not going away, but support for it is, version 14. If you are on version 14 at the end of 2013, that will no longer be supported. Now, even if STI doesn't come out with version 17 for full release in 2013, I believe version 14 support is still going away as of January 1st. So if you have version 14, you really want to consider getting it up to anything else. I mean, some people have 14, then they're running it, but they have disks for 16. By all means, get out of 14. Here's why. Two things. Your support will go away. You won't be able to call STI. If you say, oh, well, that doesn't matter, we call Attorney Computers, we won't be able to call STI on your behalf. So if you have trouble, you won't be able to get through to a technician to ask a question specifically about version 14 after the end of the year. The other thing is, once the support for the software goes away, so does the support for the user being able to update their data. By that I mean, if you were to get version 17, or even update to version 16 if they didn't release 17 before the end of the year, and you're on 14, you would have to send your data to STI to get converted to the current version of the software. Once a software package, once a version like 14 is being sunsetted, once a version is sunsetted, STI will no longer support the user doing the conversion of the data. It needs to be done by STI. And this is really, for your benefit. They can't possibly train all of their staff to support every version going back to version 1 of Tabs. It's not practical. So at some point they have to sunset the software. I think 14's been out for about 5-6 years, maybe longer. And that's an awful long time for a package to be supported by, or a version to be supported by a software company. We find that other legal software vendors, Time Matters, Time Slips, these programs tend to get sunsetted much quicker than STI does. So 14 being sunsetted isn't a surprise to us, but it's something that you need to be aware of. Mary Jo, what's next? How related to
the next thing that I'm going to just kind of talk about a little bit, Paul and I have developed, I guess I should say, I can't take really credit for it. No. But we had a way to keep track of all of your contacts and all of your things that you keep track of in Practice Master, and we called it our People tab. So it was one place that you could go that you could add people, and you could put that into the software and keep track of all their information, and Paul's going to take you over there to show you. Now, some people called it Parties of Record. We called it People, but it was an easy place to just gather all of the information, add a contact, add several contacts, add whatever that you want there.
So here's Purdue Law offices, and here's the 3 people that are tied to Purdue Law and their roles and how they interact with this matter.
And so it was one little tab that it was on all clients that you could just go to and add contacts as you wished. And now, and I don't know how long this has been there, but I want to say it's within the last year, 2 tops. Practice Master has developed a tab, and it comes out of the box, and it is called How Related. And it's a very generic version of kind of what Paul and I had created. So it just gives you a place that you can add contacts. You can say how they're related and have a little comments box. So if you don't have our special People tab that we've created, you may have the How Related tab that you can go in and you can use that. And for some of our clients, that works just fine for them. They don't need all the added screenshot fields that we have. And Paul, if you open that, you can, I don't know if you want to show that one. We have a lot more information that we have, and some of our clients have even more of this depending on what type of law that they practice. We may have a medical provider box that gives them information just about medical providers or employees or employers or things like that. So ours is a little bit more detailed, but Practice Master has developed one that is very simple and easy to use so that you can add as many contacts as you want on one screen and keep track of them. So we thought that was pretty cool that they kind of, saw what we did and
Stole it.
I don't know if
They
that's
stole
true.
it. Just
I don't know if that's true or not, or if they have this in the works, but we're way ahead of them.
Brother's a patent attorney, and we're filing action right now to sue them for infringement of our intellectual property. The way this works, though, of course, you've got people in your contact file, and what this does is allow you to take maybe that one attorney and tag him or her to whatever cases they're tied to. Because it's important. You don't want to keep adding their name and address 17, 18 times. You want them in the contact file once, but you need to be able to tag them to 17 or 18 different matters, and a lot of times under different roles. An attorney might be co-counsel in a couple matters, opposing counsel in a couple more, perhaps a referral source for yet some more, maybe even a mediator or an arbitrator, or maybe even an expert witness. And this is just a way to tie that single contact record to multiple matters with whatever role they happen to be taking in that matter.
And Paul, I'm just going to continue with my two and then let you finish up. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
While we're still in here. And the next thing that we had was resetting users. That's one of the biggest questions that I get all year long. So I wanted to just share a little bit about that and why you would need to do it, and then what to do when that box pops up and says, duplicate users have been found, and everybody's a little afraid of that. What's that?
How about if I reset this one? I'm going to reset these two right here because I don't think they should be in the software.
Okay, we are.
Oh.
We are in there.
You mean I could get into trouble for doing this?
Yes, you really don't want to do that, Paul. Stop.
Okay.
Okay. What you want to do, if you have people in here, the first thing that happens is they come in to log in and they come and tell you that there was a message that popped up that says duplicate users have been found. And they just say, it says, do you want to reset the user? They either say no and just keep going. And if you know you're in the software, signed in on another computer, and you just moved down the hallway to answer the phones for a few minutes, you would just say no, because you know you're already logged in the software. When you log off and you go back to your room, your regular office, you're going to be back in there one time. But let's say you're not logged in anywhere else. A lot of times this happens if you lose your internet connection or your power, or something happens and you were all in the software, and all of a sudden, you're gone. Everybody's stuck. And so Practice Master gets locked because it thinks that there are still people in the software. This could be just a few second delay. Maybe you lost your connection to the server and that person was in something, and when they reconnects, it just doesn't understand that was still there. So you get this message. So what you do, I usually like to ask that person to make sure that they are logged out, because you don't want to just go start resetting users, willy-nilly, because if they are in a file, that file could get locked open, and then you won't be able to add any more. If they were in a fee record, you won't be able to add a fee to that matter anymore. It'll keep popping up an error for that user. So we want to make sure that they are out of the software for sure. They're not signed in. Their computer's probably off, whatever. And then you can reset the user safely. So you reset, and then you get this screen that pops up that has three little check boxes that's asking you
scary
questions.
Check boxes.
Yeah, everybody's afraid of those to do it because it does look very scary, but it is a serious thing, so that's why it's there. We want to make sure that you understand that you are going to reset a user and you have checked all these things to make sure that they're not in the software and to make sure that they have everything closed before you just reset. So once you know that, you just check the three boxes, you say OK, and it will ask you to pick which user you want to reset. It's going to open up a window much like what Paul had on there earlier, right here. And what a lot of people don't know is if I were the one resetting it, Paul's only in here once. We do the detail, Paul, so we can see it. Well, he's only in here, and every one of the instances of Paul has an asterisk in front of it because he's the user that's currently logged in right now on this computer. So if you're resetting me, if he was going to come down and reset me, I don't have an asterisk in front of me, and he can go ahead and reset that. Now, if it was himself he was resetting, or that, if it would not have an asterisk, it would have another version or another line item with no asterisk.
So if
you're
I've got two Payable and one of them doesn't have an asterisk, and I know that I'm resetting myself, the one I want to reset is the one without the asterisk? Is that right?
Without the asterisk.
Gotcha.
Okay. The asterisk is your current login right now. You're trying to log in as you. And so you would just highlight that particular one, and you would say reset, and then there's the little box that pops up that has the three check boxes. And you would just ask you there, have you verified that they are out of the software? Have you attempted to close the program on the user's computer? Because sometimes that person will leave and they leave their practice master open. They haven't closed it at the end of the day or when they went out to lunch or to court, and they are really open in there. And you might be trying to do an exclusive task and say, well, so-and-so's not even here. Why is he in here? Well, because they forgot to sign out. So they really are in. So this is asking you, did you go to their computer and make sure they really are out of the software? And then the last one is you understand the consequences of resetting users. And that's that thing that I'm telling you, if they had a file open, a fee or a calendar, that could lock those files on the server. Now, there's ways around that we can close it. It's not like some big, horrible thing, but it can cause issues later on. I've had clients go so far as to open new matters because they couldn't figure out how to put a fee back in, when in reality it was just a file that was locked open that we needed to close. And so we don't want to have to open new matters and things. It's just an issue that needs to be addressed, and you need to be aware of that it's something that we want to correct right away. So you would check these 3 boxes. You would say reset now, and then it will go in and it will reset that user and close them out. Now, sometimes you might even have people in there that are in there 3 or 4 times, and they really aren't in there. So you might have to repeat this process until the only user that you have left is the one with the asterisks on it.
Now, one thing I'll point out is that it looks like I'm in there 8 times, but I'm not. I'm in 8 different things. And so if you go from detail to summary mode, it will only show you how many unique logins there are for this person, as opposed to how many things they have open. I have a whole bunch of things open in Practice Master, so we see all those things listed with me many times.
And it will tell you how many times you're logged into each program. So, you can see I'm in there twice if you look at the summary, but that's because I'm in Practice Master and I'm in Tabs. So resetting users is probably the biggest question I get and that I sign on and I do every year. So I wanted to touch on that because of that. And you can always call. If you're still unsure and you just don't want to push those buttons, and I do have people that are just not sure what to do, call me. It takes not even 5 minutes to do it, but you want to make sure it's done right and that they're closed out. You don't want duplicate users out there. If that message pops up, you need to train your staff to come and tell you. If they don't want to reset themselves, which I don't recommend, but they need to tell somebody that's in charge, the office manager or whoever, that, hey, I got this message, can you take care of it? And then you can
instead of continuing to say no and just signing in on top of that user that's already in there.
Right. And when this really comes into play, when you really start to notice it, is when you have to do an exclusive task. You get to the end of the month and you have to run that data file integrity check, and you can't because people are in the software when they really aren't, and that just causes problems later. So we want to address those right away. And my last thing before I turn it back to Paul is your end of the year. Usually in December, sometimes in November, Paul and I always do an end of the year webinar.
We didn't do that this year.
We didn't do it this year because we've done it every year, probably, what, do you think, Paul, for the last 5 years, however many times we've been recording these virtual user group meetings. And so this year, we're just going to refer you to our website and have you go ahead and watch the how to close your year in Tabs and General Ledger. And
it is November 2012 was the last time we did it. So all you need to do is go to the website, attorneycomputersystems.com, click on Tabs3 Virtual User Group, and then scroll down and look for November 2012.
And that will get you all the information. So we're not going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Now, if anything changes in those procedures, obviously we will touch on that next year, and we will help you through that. And that kind of leads right into yours, Paul, because you're going to talk about some of our video content.
Video content. Well, first I want to say that there have been several changes here. The people that you deal with for STI software, Mary Jo and I, we haven't changed. We're still the same friendly, happy people that we've always been. But Leanne, who's been with us for several years, has taken a very active role in doing, we call her our logic person. She does reports. She does a lot of filter expression development. She does workflows, and she does document coding. So all that logic-oriented stuff that we do to make your Practice Master run more efficiently, a lot of that's being done now by Leanne. We also have a new video person, the person that makes all this content that you're looking at right now possible. That's Brad. Brandon, who was doing this for quite a long time, who actually started us in this direction. went to college to learn to be a video producer. He was actually a high school student, and so he's gone. He's gone down to Florida to go to Full Sail, and Brad has come in and taken his place. Another new person in the attorney computer systems world, and so therefore your Tabs3 practice master world, I suppose, is Patty. Patty has just joined us probably about 5 or 6 months ago, and she is our new quote-unquote client services coordinator. So she's the one that helps me with all the contact that I have with clients and helping people to, she's the one that now sends the announcements for the topics for the virtual user group meeting. She's the one that sends you the emails afterwards with the recordings, the links to the recordings that we make of these things. So 3 new people here and 1 that we said goodbye to. And then the other thing, of course, that I want to talk about, and this is the last thing that's kind of not entirely new, but certainly is steamrolling along, is our video content. We have on our website a place for each of the 3 virtual user group meetings that we host, Tabs, Practice Master, and World Docs. And on each of those pages you will find all the recordings we have ever done since we've started recording. We also have something called our Coffee Pot webinar series. For instance, the one that we gave last Friday was specifically on what's new in version 17. And got in trouble for this here. Forgot to change that language that was written 2 months ago. STI has not released version 17, but that's what we were talking about last month. And you'll find all of those here. So here's a demonstration of Legal Anywhere that hooks into Practice Master and World Docs. Here's a demonstration of Practice Master. Here we're talking about integrated accounting. So that's our webinar series. And then we have 2 other things. Mary Jo records 3 of these each month. These are our e-bites. And they're just little short snippets of information about a very specific topic. They last anywhere from 2 or 3 minutes to 5 or 6 minutes. And it's Mary Jo talking on camera and on screen about different things that we find interesting. And finally, the Paul and Mary Jo show. Yes, my son Spencer says, really, Dad, the Paul and Mary Jo show? Yeah, we like it. It rhymes. And this is kind of a longer.
Regis and Kathy Lee, I'm telling you.
Regis and Kathy Lee, Paul and Mary Jo.
More famous.
I think so. and here we take it. We actually have a studio setting, and we'll talk about it, something, and then either I or Mary Jo will go to a computer and show you in great detail whatever it is that we're talking about. So here, if we're talking about fee compensation rules, you can rest assured that we're going to be talking for about anywhere from 10 to 20, 25 minutes about it. So these are very long and much more detail-oriented than the e-bites, which are kind of little snippets of information. So that's something that's pretty new for us, is having all this content. We actually record 8 or 9 videos a month and put them out there. So a whole host of information. Just a little hint at what might be coming in 2014. Mary Jo is currently spearheading a huge project to get together all the other types of information that we have, the documentation, e-books, guides on how to do certain things, videos that other people like STI and World Docs put out, and kind of bringing them all together under this one umbrella so you can come to our site, search for something, and find your information no matter where it happens to be coming from. So that is a quick look back at 2013 for the STI world. Mary Jo, you know what I did? I threw away that piece of paper that had the topics for what we're doing next time. Did you write those down?
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah, right. No, here I have it. I have it. I found it.
You have it. Keep looking. See what happens when we're not there with you?
Yeah, I see. Without people to watch me, I get a little off track. Next month in our Tabs3 virtual user group meeting, we will be talking about split fee billing, which is a new feature of version 17. Mary Jo is going to, well, actually, gosh, who's going to talk about that? We don't know. It's a mystery, but we will be talking about split fee billing and the new streamlined journal entry screen in the General Ledger software. I think you may have heard me promise at another occasion that this is impossible with this new screen to create an out-of-balance journal entry. We'll take a look at that and see how that works. And in case you're interested, the Practice Master Virtual User Group meeting next month in January, next year, I guess, will be I'll be talking about quick views, and Mary Jo is going to be talking about filters. Now, filters have been around for a while. Mary Jo will lead off and tell us about that. Quick views is a new feature in version 17 that allows you to take filters and screen column layouts and sort and put them all together in these things called quick views. So after Mary Jo lays out how filters work, I'll take that a step further and talk about quick views. Now, in case you're curious, or should I say in case you're here and also scheduled to be at the Practice Master Virtual User Group meeting, there's not going to be much different between what you heard here and what you're going to hear in 22 minutes at the Practice Master Virtual User Group meeting, except
actually they're all the same because we covered one of the Practice Master topics.
Yeah, so if you've been here and you're also scheduled to appear at 2 o'clock, you were excused from the 2 o'clock Practice Master Virtual User Group meeting because it's pretty much going to be a repeat of what you've heard here. So while I can't say this is the first time that I've said this year, it's close to it. We will see you next year. Everybody have a good holiday and a good new year, and we'll see you in January of 2014. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.